Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe. Feel this moment, not the one that just passed, not the one you're anticipating, this one. The stillness between your breaths, the warmth of your chest rising and falling, the silence between thoughts. This is your life. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, now. We live in a world that tells us to always chase something, a dream, a title, a future version of ourselves that's more worthy, more successful, more perfect. But in that relentless chase, we miss the only thing that's ever been real, this present moment. A man once stood in front of a roaring crowd, world famous, adored, envied, yet inside he was hollow. Robin Williams made millions laugh, but in the silence of his own mind he felt alone. The world thought he had it all, but even with all the applause, he couldn't find peace within. Why? Because true fulfillment doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from being here now, embracing what is, not what should be. There's a woman who walks barefoot every morning through a small field just outside her village. No fame, no followers, no camera capturing the dew on the grass or the light in her eyes. But she smiles, truly, deeply, because she has understood something that we forget in our chase. Joy doesn't wait at the finish line. It breathes with you right now, in this very step. What if you stopped believing the lie that your life should be different than it is? What if you dropped the war against the present moment? What if the things you resist are the very keys to your awakening? You are not broken. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. The present doesn't need fixing, it needs feeling. The ache, the wonder, the silence, the chaos, all of it. It's your life, raw and real and fleeting. Eckhart Tolle once said, "Realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. And when you truly do that, life ceases to be a problem to solve and becomes a mystery to dance with." You see, there's something unspeakably beautiful about this moment. Its impermanence, its unpredictability, its freedom. The past is just memory, the future imagination, but the now. It's the only place where life breathes. Think about a child laughing uncontrollably at nothing at all. They don't need a reason. They are the reason. They're not worried about next week. They're not haunted by last month. They're fully here, eyes wide, soul open. And in that presence, there is magic. You don't need to escape your life. You need to enter it. That grief you're holding, that fear you're hiding, that joy you're afraid to feel, it's all asking to be met now. Not later, because there is no later. Later is just a thought. But this breath, this heartbeat, this is where peace lives. This is where you live. You don't have to go find yourself somewhere out there. You are already here, whole, awake, alive. Right now is the most powerful place you will ever be. Embrace it. Drink it in. Let it change you. Let it break you open and show you that you were never missing anything. You're just missing now. The present moment is all there truly is. It is not a spiritual cliché or poetic metaphor. It is the absolute, unshakable truth of existence. Every second of your life has unfolded here, in this eternal now. The past is a collection of memories stored in the mind, shaped by perception, often distorted by time. The future is a projection, a dream, a mental rehearsal of what might be, but the present, it is not imagined, it is felt, it is alive. It is the only place where your heart beats, where your breath rises and falls, where your life actually happens. We have been taught to believe that the present moment is merely a bridge, something to endure while we wait for a better future, or try to outrun a painful past. So we rush through today, hoping that tomorrow will reward us with peace, love, or purpose. But tomorrow never truly arrives, not in the way we think it will. When it comes, it's still today, it's still now. This is why so many people, even after reaching their goals or acquiring the things they thought would make them whole, still feel empty. They realize too late that while they were chasing there, they were missing here. In the now, there is no resistance. There is no need to impress or pretend or perform. There is only awareness, and with it, a profound sense of freedom. This doesn't mean the present moment is always easy or pleasant. Sometimes it holds pain, discomfort, or uncertainty. But even then, it is real. And reality, even when difficult, is far more healing than the illusions we create to escape it. Think of a moment when you were completely absorbed in something. A breathtaking view, the touch of someone's hand, the sound of your favorite song, the laughter of a child. In those moments, your mind was quiet. Time seemed to vanish. That was presence. That was life, unfiltered and undivided. You weren't remembering or anticipating. You were simply being. And in that state, there is no need to reach for happiness. It arises naturally, without effort. When we anchor ourselves in the now, we meet life directly. We see things as they are, not as we fear or hope them to be. We can respond with clarity, not from habit or anxiety. The now does not require you to be anyone other than who you are. It doesn't demand that you have it all figured out. It just invites you to show up, to feel, to listen, to breathe. This moment, right now, is enough. It's always been enough. Everything you are searching for, peace, love, joy, meaning, doesn't exist out there in the future. It's here in this breath, in this stillness, in this awareness. This is the doorway to all that is real, and it is always open. Chasing external success doesn't guarantee inner peace. This is one of the most sobering truths of our time, and yet it is so often ignored in favor of the louder, more seductive story society sells us, that happiness is something we must earn, achieve, or buy. From a young age, we are taught to pursue accomplishments, titles, wealth, beauty, recognition, as if these things will fill the invisible space within us that longs to feel whole. But the truth is, no matter how much you acquire on the outside, it can never compensate for a lack of connection on the inside. Robin Williams was one of the most beloved performers in the world. His genius lit up screens, brought laughter to millions, and left a permanent imprint on the world of entertainment. To those watching from the outside, he had everything: success, fame, fortune, admiration. But behind the curtain, in the silence of his own soul, there was a void that applause could not reach. His story is not just a tragedy, It's a reflection of a universal human pattern, the belief that if we just get there, if we just become someone extraordinary, then we will finally feel at peace. But peace does not arrive through achievement. It is not the prize at the end of effort. It is a state of being that must be found where you are, not where you're going. Inner peace is not something that success can deliver. In fact, the louder the world praises you, the harder it can be to hear your own inner voice. You begin to play roles, wear masks, and live according to expectations that have nothing to do with your truth. You can become a stranger to yourself while appearing to be someone everyone else admires. The tragedy is that the world may love the version of you that is furthest from your authentic self. We must stop glorifying success as the ultimate solution to our suffering. There is nothing wrong with goals, dreams, or ambition. But when we place them above our inner well-being, we lose ourselves. We trade presence for pressure, joy for performance, stillness for striving. The most successful people in the world, those who are truly fulfilled, are not necessarily the richest or the most admired. They are the ones who have learned to be deeply present in their lives, who can feel peace even in quiet moments, who don't need the world to validate their worth because they've already come home to themselves. The irony is that when we stop trying to prove ourselves, when we no longer seek peace through achievement, we become more open, more creative, more real. We act not from desperation, but from presence. We contribute not to gain something, but because it's an honest expression of who we are. The peace we seek has never been at the finish line. It has always been right here, waiting for us to stop running. Joy exists in simplicity and presence, not in the grand dramatic highs that come and go like passing storms, but in the quiet, often unnoticed spaces of our daily lives. There is a depth of happiness that does not depend on extraordinary events or possessions. It lives in the ordinary, waiting for us to slow down enough to see it. But we've been conditioned to believe that joy must be earned, that it must look impressive, that it only comes with success, recognition, or perfect circumstances. This is a myth, a deeply persistent one, and it keeps us from recognizing the beauty that's already here. Imagine a woman who walks barefoot every morning through a field outside her village. She has no social media following, no luxurious home, no glamorous life. The world does not know her name, but she is awake to the world in a way that many people with everything are not. She feels the wet grass beneath her feet, hears the bird song as though it's being sung just for her. She smiles, not because something amazing has happened, but because she is present. She belongs to the moment. And that belonging brings her a joy that is quiet, deep, and lasting. We often overlook moments like these because they are not loud. They don't shout for attention. They don't come with fireworks or applause, but that's what makes them sacred. True joy is not dependent on what's happening around us. It emerges from our ability to fully experience what is, to feel the breeze on your skin, to watch sunlight dance across the floor, to laugh for no reason, to cry and feel held by the moment rather than judged by it. These are not distractions from life, they are life. The simplicity we avoid is the very thing that can heal us. We fill our schedules, chase goals, and scroll endlessly through curated lives, hoping to feel something real, but realness lives in the now, in the soft places, in silence, in breath, in the spaces between doing. Joy is not found in adding more, it is uncovered in needing less. Children understand this intuitively. Give a child a puddle, and you'll witness pure delight, not because the puddle is amazing, but because they are fully present with it. Their attention is undivided, their heart is open. They haven't yet been taught to believe that joy must come from somewhere else. They just feel, and that feeling is enough. The older we get, the more we try to intellectualize joy, to control it, to earn it. But joy resists control. It arrives when we surrender, when we stop trying to manufacture happiness and begin to notice the gentle miracles all around us. A warm drink in your hands, a familiar voice, a deep breath after a long day. These are not small things. They are doorways. There is nothing ordinary about presence. It transforms everything. When you meet life without needing it to be different, even the simplest moment becomes luminous. Even the smallest thing can make your heart swell. And in that you remember, joy was never far away. It was simply waiting for you to arrive. You are exactly where you are meant to be. These words may feel difficult to believe, especially in a world that constantly measures you against timelines, checklists, and milestones. We are told that we must always be doing more, achieving faster, becoming better versions of ourselves. If we haven't reached a certain level of success by a certain age, if our lives don't look a certain way, we assume we've fallen behind. But what if that's not true? What if life isn't a race and there is no such thing as being late? What if your journey in all its twists and pauses has been unfolding with perfect timing all along? This moment, as it is, carries its own unique purpose, even if you feel uncertain. Even if you feel lost, even if everything around you seems quiet or still, there is something sacred about being exactly where you are, because this is the only place where transformation can happen. Growth is not always visible. Sometimes it happens underground, like roots deepening in the dark. Sometimes the most important changes occur in silence, when nothing seems to be happening on the surface, but within, everything is shifting. We often think of progress as constant forward motion, always more, always bigger, always better. But life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in spirals, in waves, in rhythms that don't follow the calendar. Seasons arrive and pass in their own time. Flowers bloom only when conditions are right. The moon doesn't rush its phases. Nature never apologizes for taking its time, and neither should you. Consider a seed buried beneath the earth. For weeks, maybe months, there is no visible sign of growth. To the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening. But inside the shell, life is preparing, quietly, powerfully, and then one day it breaks through the surface. Not because it forced its way out, but because it was ready, and when it's ready, nothing can stop it from blooming. You are not behind, you are becoming. Everything you have lived through, every setback, every detour, every heartbreak, has been a necessary part of your unfolding. You've been shaped by things no one can see. Strength has grown in you in places no one knows. Even the pain you felt has softened you in ways that allow for deeper love, deeper compassion. The very things you thought were holding you back have been carving out space within you to hold more of life. This moment is not a mistake. Your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's. You are not meant to follow someone else's map. You are meant to listen to your own rhythm, trust it, breathe into it, let go of the belief that you should be somewhere else, someone else, doing something more. The truth is, you are already enough. And this moment, this imperfect, unfolding, sacred moment, is where your power lives. Everything you need is here. Everything begins from here. Stop resisting life. Meet it with openness. Most of our suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from the resistance we carry toward them. We spend so much energy wishing things were different, fighting against what is, trying to reshape the present moment into something more convenient, more comfortable, more in line with our expectations. And in that fight, we lose the only real connection we have to peace, acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means coming into alignment with the truth of this moment. It means saying, this is what's here right now, and I'm willing to be present with it. Whether it's joy or pain, clarity or confusion, lightness or heaviness, resistance only deepens the wound. Openness, on the other hand, allows healing to begin. Think of how the body reacts when it resists. Tight shoulders, clenched jaw, shallow breath. It contracts, hardens, prepares for battle. This is exactly what we do on an emotional and spiritual level when we reject the moment. We brace ourselves, we armor up, and in doing so, we close the door to presence. But when we soften, when we breathe into what's happening instead of running from it, something incredible happens. We begin to feel spacious. Even in difficulty, a quiet strength rises. Not the strength of control, but the strength of surrender. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. You can shout at the sky, demand the rain to stop, curse the wind, but it will still pour. Or you can open your arms, feel the wetness on your skin, and recognize that the storm is part of the cycle, that it too will pass. And when it does, something inside you will be more grounded, more alive, more awake. Life doesn't ask us to like everything it brings, but it does ask us to meet what comes with presence. There's a deep intelligence in life's unfolding, even when we can't see it clearly. Sometimes what feels like a detour is actually a redirection towards something more aligned. Sometimes what seems like loss is a quiet invitation to let go of what we've outgrown. But we can only hear these subtle messages when we're not fighting what is. Resistance drowns out the wisdom of the moment. Openness reveals it. The heart knows how to hold pain without being destroyed by it. The soul knows how to sit with uncertainty without needing to fix it. But we must be willing to stop running, to sit still, to listen. We must be willing to feel the discomfort without labeling it as wrong, because in that space, transformation begins, not from effort, but from honesty, not from force, but from awareness. What we resist persists. What we meet transforms. When we stop demanding the moment be different and instead allow it to show us what it carries, we discover a deep and quiet power, a freedom that doesn't come from changing life, but from finally allowing ourselves to be in it. Children are the perfect example of presence. They don't study mindfulness or read spiritual books, yet they embody the very essence of what so many adults are seeking, a natural, effortless awareness of the present moment. They don't worry about what happened yesterday, nor do they anxiously plan for tomorrow. Their joy comes from full immersion in whatever is happening right now. Give a child a bottle, a cardboard box, a simple song, and they'll turn it into a universe. Why? Because they are not distracted by thoughts of what should be. They are entirely available to what is. There's something profoundly sacred about the way a child experiences the world. Watch them closely, the way they marvel at an insect crawling on the ground, the way their eyes light up at the sound of a bird, or how their laughter erupts from deep within over something completely ordinary. They don't ask, is this moment good enough? They don't compare it to another. They just live it. And in that purity of attention, there is real magic. Not the kind that performs, but the kind that transforms. A kind of magic that most of us have forgotten in the rush to become grown up. As we grow older, we begin to trade presence for performance. We learn to carry mental checklists, to strive for outcomes, to measure our worth by productivity and approval. Somewhere along the way, we lose that childlike capacity to simply be. We become entangled in thoughts about our image, our status, our mistakes, our future. We begin to believe that joy is something to earn rather than something we can access simply by being fully here. But the truth is that inner child, the one who knew how to wonder, how to feel without filters, how to exist without judgment, still lives inside you. It has not disappeared. It has only been buried beneath layers of conditioning, stress, and overthinking. To return to presence is not to become someone new, but to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. There is deep wisdom in reclaiming this innocence. Not ignorance, but the clarity that comes from living in the moment. It is a return to the part of you that doesn't need everything to make sense in order to feel joy. The part of you that can dance in your kitchen, that can cry without shame, that can feel awe just from watching the wind move through the trees. Children remind us that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. That fulfillment is not waiting somewhere in the distance, tied to achievement or perfection. It is right here, hidden in plain sight. In the texture of the ordinary, when we allow ourselves to be like them, not childish but childlike, we find a path back to presence. We find a doorway into the kind of joy that cannot be taken or manufactured. It simply arises effortlessly the moment we stop trying and start truly seeing. You don't need to fix your life, you need to enter it. We live in a world that constantly urges us to improve, upgrade, optimize, and correct ourselves. The messaging is subtle but persistent. You are not enough as you are. And happiness is something you can reach only after you've solved every problem, heal every wound, and accomplish every goal. This belief keeps us suspended in a state of perpetual preparation, always waiting for a better version of ourselves to finally be ready to live fully. But life is not a project to be perfected. It is an experience to be inhabited, and you can only inhabit it now. The idea that we need to fix ourselves before we can be happy is a trap. It makes joy conditional. It says only after you lose the weight, find the partner, get the promotion, heal your past, or change your personality, can you be at peace. And so peace becomes a future reward, forever dangling just out of reach. But peace is not a destination. It is not a prize for getting your life in order. It is a state of being that is available when you choose to show up fully in the life you already have. This doesn't mean that growth isn't valuable or that change isn't necessary. Of course we evolve. Of course we learn. But when growth is fueled by the belief that you are fundamentally broken, it becomes a burden rather than a liberation. Real transformation begins not with self-criticism, but with self-connection, not with rejection of the present, but with presence within it. There's a quiet power in turning toward your life just as it is, in waking up in the morning and meeting your day with curiosity instead of judgment, in looking around at your imperfect circumstances and choosing to be fully available to them. There is wisdom in choosing to participate, even when things feel messy, unresolved, or uncertain, because that's where life is happening, not in the perfectly planned future, but in the unpolished now. When you enter your life, instead of trying to fix it, you begin to notice the richness that was always there. You taste your coffee instead of rushing past it. You hear the emotion behind a loved one's words. You feel your own breath and realize how sacred it is to be alive. Right here, you start to experience your moments instead of managing them. Nothing is missing except your presence. The life you are trying to create in the future is asking you to be here in this breath, in this step, in this conversation. The healing you long for isn't only in books or plans. It's in your willingness to feel what's here without needing it to be different. The love you're chasing out there begins with choosing to love this moment enough to enter it fully. There is nothing to fix before you begin. There is only this moment waiting for you to arrive. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the presence of something deeper. In a world that celebrates speed, movement, and constant progress, stillness is often misunderstood. We mistake it for stagnation, for doing nothing, for being left behind. But true stillness is not lifelessness. It is not passivity. It is not a void. It is a powerful, alert presence. A doorway into the depth of being that most people spend their lives rushing past. We fill our days with noise, external and internal, because silence can feel unfamiliar, even threatening. We check our phones the moment there's a pause. We fill quiet rooms with music, television, conversation, and inside our minds we run loops of worry, replaying the past or rehearsing the future. The idea of simply being with ourselves without distraction feels foreign. But this is where the most profound truths live. Beneath all the activity and thoughts and doing, there is a space in you that is always still, always quiet, always present. It is in stillness that we begin to remember who we are beyond the layers. It's where clarity emerges, not from effort or analysis, but from spaciousness. Just like muddy water becomes clear when left undisturbed, our mind finds insight when we stop trying to force it. Stillness doesn't take us out of life, it brings us closer to it. It allows us to feel more, see more, and listen more deeply. It's not an escape from reality, it's an entrance into it. Nature models this for us effortlessly. A mountain doesn't rush. A tree doesn't hurry. The sky doesn't fill its silence with noise, and yet everything continues in perfect rhythm. In yet is visible growth. The trees are bare. Their inward days are not wasted. They are the visible growth. The trees are not wasted. They are sacred. There is a strength in stillness that cannot be found in constant motion. It's the strength to sit with yourself without needing to escape. The strength to feel discomfort without numbing it. The strength to observe your thoughts without becoming them. It's a kind of bravery that doesn't look loud or impressive, but is deeply transformative. When we embrace stillness, we begin to listen not just to our minds, but to our hearts, to the subtle wisdom of our body, to the quiet voice within that has always been speaking if only we slow down enough to hear it. We stop living on the surface and begin to sink into the richness of our own presence. Stillness is not a retreat from life, it is a reunion with it. It's a return to the center, to the breath, to the moment. And from that place, everything becomes clearer, softer, more real, because life doesn't always speak in shouts, it often whispers, and only stillness can hear it. In the end, the journey toward peace, joy, and fulfillment is not found in the pursuit of something outside of ourselves, but in the embrace of the present moment. We've spent so much time chasing external markers of success, thinking they will bring us happiness, that we often overlook the simple, profound truths that lie within us. The power of presence, the peace found in stillness, and the joy of being fully alive in the now are not distant dreams. They are available to us at every moment, waiting for us to stop, look, and listen. Like children, we can learn to be fully present, to immerse ourselves in the beauty of what is, rather than constantly striving for what could be. Life is not something to be fixed or perfected, but to be lived, embraced, and experienced in its full, unfiltered reality. Every moment holds the potential for transformation if we meet it with openness and awareness. And in the silence, the stillness, the simplicity, we find the truth that has always been there. We are enough, and peace begins right here, right now. So stop running, stop resisting, and stop seeking outside of yourself. Come back to the present, where all life unfolds. Embrace who you are as you are, and discover the richness, the beauty, and the peace that have always been waiting for you.